never been inside of a virtual reality headset. But how long have you been practicing optometry now, Mark?
About 5 years.
So Mark owns his own optometry clinic, and he also owns his own optical. And so he's got a really good sense, compared to us, the average folk, of what his eyes are doing, how they're compensating, what the lenses inside the headset are causing him to do. We all know these headsets are tricking us into seeing distance, into seeing vision, and much further away than, obviously we don't feel like we're looking at a screen that's right here in front of our face. And so Mark's going to talk to us about kind of what that magic that's happening in our eyes is, and how it's compensating, how it's reacting, how it's acting. And so we're going to get this headset slapped onto him here. I'm going to step off camera because there's just no sense in me crowding Mark for no reason. And I'll step off camera really quick, and you'll hear me asking questions and prompting him off camera. But otherwise, you'll just see the footage of what's happening in the game and hear what Mark's telling us his eyes are doing. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right.
To be honest, even when we were setting up before we even flipped the screen on here, I could feel my eyes working pretty hard.
Yeah.
Even through some of the setup stuff.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. So tell us a little bit. Okay, so let's look at that HUD, that heads-up display on your helmet. The kind of graphics around the helmet. Not that, but look down and kind of to the left and right. Tell us what your eyes are doing when you look at those. To the left and to like that bottom left circle right there. That's really close to your face.
Oh man, I tell you what. Actually, initially when I look at it, it's all double until your brain figures out the cue that the eyes have to actually converge significantly, and then I can bring that double into single. But I mean, you looking at a lot of these gauges too long, man, you might get a headache. I tell you what.
And what about
anybody that thinks 30 some hours of this is easy? We'll see how many of those show up on the internet, right?
so okay, let's talk about mid-range stuff now. So you see those objects floating there.
Yeah, mid-range stuff is pretty easy. I mean, naturally your eyes are going to be parallel, so anything out mid-range or out distance are very easy to.
So your eyes aren't really converging to see those.
No, not really. There's a little bit of convergence because the eyes have to differentiate. Like if I look straight ahead, I can tell that bottle is floating ahead of the rest of the stuff, but there's other cues. You see, there's called parallax. There's other cues that this system uses to tell where things are. So you see those two little dots right there, right? If I go up and down, you can see which one's in front of the other. You can see them getting closer and further away. There's a lot of cues that the brain uses to tell what is, what's closer, what's further away.
So, and what about distance? I assume that's even easier on your eyes, right?
Oh yeah.
Like looking at the earth down below you right now.
But then again, I mean, your eyes are still working together a little bit. If I would have to guess, if I were to look at look down there the whole time, I'd be just fine. But when I start looking at some of this over here, or start looking at some of this near stuff, that's when it starts to get a little tasking.
It's
tough.
Visual system. It's tough. Yeah, I could feel my eyes straining pretty bad when I did that.
Oh. Get over here. And I tell you what, I don't know if you can see the rest of my body, but I keep getting a little bit off balance.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. Happened to me too. You died.
I died. Yeah,
that's okay. You're at the beginning of the game. That's
I didn't get to that cooler beer over there.
Yeah.
I would have been fine.
So let's talk a little bit about and how do you say it again? It's not Fresnel. That's how a lot of people are
Fresnel.
Fresnel. Okay.
Fresnel prism. Yep.
So the Fresnel lenses, what are those doing to make what's happening in your eyes right now? How are those functioning?
My thoughts is what that does is that there's just a lot of microscopic prism. Prism essentially kind of bends the light a little bit, so it's able to give you just a wider field of view out there. You do have to be centered into these things. If you were to have the head set too low or too high, you're definitely going to not see clear out towards the edges, and that's one of the things I figured out real quick when we initially set the headset on is you have to be centered pretty good, and that's because of the Fresnel prisms.
Okay. And so now, am I understanding correctly that those lenses essentially give you a really, you would know the better way to say it, but they essentially give you a really they're compensating for farsightedness, correct?
No,
No?
they're actually they're from what I'm guessing, and of course this is the first time I put it on or played with it or anything. You know, it's letting you see that very, very wide view that you've got here versus, you know, if you were to look through a pair of binoculars, you've got limited view, peripheral view. The Fresnel prisms are giving you that, you know, that expanded. You know, I don't know how many degrees this is. I'm sure it's listed in the specs, but there's quite a field of view here.
Yeah, there's some contention as where the field of view ranges. I think mainly from 100 to 110 degrees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's more than enough to be immersive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And see, yeah, and
so, and you may or may not know the answer to this question, and that's fine. But is there anything that, say, your eyes are converging really badly? Do you know if that can basically put you into motion sickness more quickly? There were times where I felt where my eyes kind of had to go cross-eyed really quickly to keep up with an object, and then had to rebound back really quickly.
You know, it really depends because it's the same scenario as looking at like the hand in front of your face and then looking at the distance, something far away at the distance, or let's say you're driving in a car. Look at your phone. Look at the road. Look at your phone. I mean, your focal system and convergence system have to keep changing, and especially the way this is set up. So if I'm looking at some of this stuff here, I mean, man, my eyes are really going to have to bring themselves in quite a bit, depending on what kind of game you're at, whether or not it's really tasking your system or not. You know, this is pretty. To be honest, this is, you know, not too terrible because if I want to, I can just, you know, keep looking out to the distance. I don't have to do a whole lot. If I want to be, you know, pretty active and look at my panels, back out to the distance to my panels here, you're going to get pretty tired pretty quick, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think it really depends on the type of game, you know, how long you could really handle it without starting to become fatigued or, you know, even getting a headache or you know, anything else that would go on with tasking the eyes like you're doing.
So, and I should preface this next question as well by saying I don't want you're not committing to anything by answering this. I know that you haven't done any long-term studies. There really haven't been any long-term studies done on this. So you're not going to be held to, you know, whatever medically to whatever you answer here. But if you based on what you're experiencing right now, do you see any risk of long-term vision damage or damage to the eyes or too much eye strain causing damage due to what's happening inside of the headset right now?
I don't see any long-term damage happening, but like anything, you know, I've got those patients that are accountants, that are, you know, data entry patients. They're on their computer or they're you know, they're doing near work all day. It's, you know, you fatigue that system for how many hours a day without taking any breaks. I mean, for most of those patients, it's usually headaches and eye strain.
Yeah.
Typically. So, and to be immersed into this, I'm assuming it can sneak up on you pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I don't see any long-term damage, to be honest with you. Now, there's other factors, and you know, others might argue. There's the blue light thing. There's the, you know, you're always going to hear that argument.
Yeah, let's talk about the blue light thing really quickly, because there's, you know, some people are aware of it, some are not. So let's talk about what the contention, what the controversy there is, and why people say blue light can
blue light, the visual spectrum, of course, you know, Roy G. Biv, it's the rainbow, that's the, you know, white light that we can see. That spectrum, the blue light is at the end of that spectrum. That is the higher energy light. And that is what's said to, you know, possibly cause, you know, more damage with like macular degeneration and acceleration of cataracts, things like that. Our electronics emit that blue light. So you'll see a lot of, you know, different coatings and stuff come out. You know, computer glasses, they've got the blue block coatings on there. They're just blocking that specific spectrum of the visual spectrum. And, you know, Ian, you had a pair of those glasses that we'd fit on you, and that's what you use for those, you know, 30-some hours. And you know, is there proof that I saved you from damaging your eye? Maybe that'd be hard to prove, but there is proof that you know, that blue light is more damaging than the rest of the visual spectrum.
Gotcha. So why not err on the side of caution?
Yeah, you know, if you've got a choice between, you know, regular glasses and you know, a set with some blue block coating on it, I would have blue block coating on it for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want you, whirring around here all evening, but I do want to ask you, one more thing here. If you get a headache, a headache or eye strain from using the headset too much, what should you do? Should you take a break? And if so, how long?
Yeah, and I have the same conversation with my patients that have issues. They say, well, hey, I'm in front of the computer for 12 hours a day. I have headaches, I have issues. I give them a couple options. I can give you a pair of glasses that can help focus a little bit for you. It doesn't do all the focusing for you, but it maybe do 20% of it for you, and so your eyes don't get as tired. Or you can start taking breaks. Every half hour, take 5 minutes. Go grab a drink. Go, take a walk around the office or something. Just take a break. Let the eyes reset for a little bit, and then go back to work. Same thing with doing this. I think if I was immersed doing this for a couple hours straight, I think knowing me, I'd probably have a pretty good headache.
Yeah.
To be honest
okay.
with you. And for me, I like to pause it, go grab a drink, hang out for just a second, and then maybe come back to it, and then I'm going to feel a little bit more refreshed.
And so, so say someone kind of pushes through that eye strain for too long. Can the muscles in their eye, just like if you worked out too hard the day before, can they feel sore the next day after?
They can.
And is that anything to worry about?
No, you're not gonna permanently damage them, but. Like I said, I've got patients that work, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week straight, and that's all. They said there's nothing I can do to make myself feel better. I usually throw them a pair of glasses, but if they don't do one of those things, they're always going to feel fatigued. They feel like they've been hit by a truck by the end of the day. They're tired. Mm-hmm. Their focusing system kind of breaks down where it starts to focus in and out and doesn't really work correctly sometimes. Like I can focus on this little bag here in front of me, right? Those patients, they'll notice that they're not able to focus correctly at the end of the day doing that. So, although no permanent damage, at the time you're definitely gonna have some symptoms. But
Gotcha.
I'd like to tell the kids there that their eyes are gonna go crossed and then they won't be fixed. But I'm sure parents would love me to tell them that. And I actually have parents that'll probably try to bribe me to do that. Yeah. But, that's not the case.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts? Anything else you're experiencing you want to share? I think we've been pretty thorough here, but anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so. Other than, like I said, I can feel my eyes they're getting beat up here a little bit. I can tell they've been working for a while.
So your advice to people that are feeling eye strain is take a quick break, grab a drink, come back to it.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much.